Hey guys, what's going on? It's 1987 Mastermind here. You know who I am, you know who you are. What's going on, everybody? Yeah. I just wanted to do a political video. I just wanted to, further emphasize a point. Why I believe, in my humble opinion, and obviously, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I respect you, whatever political party you have. That's why I do these channels. That's why I do these political videos, so I could create conversation and talk, and that's what this country's all about, right? So, I want to discuss why I believe that free market principles are the only answers. That lower taxes, less regulations, and more freedom of choice. Not government choice, but freedom to more power to the individuals. I saw an article that really caught my eye, in today's New York Post, Sunday Post. I'm from New York. And this guy, his name's Eric Trobenson. He is from Texas, and he writes the massive differences and why Texas has a better economy, why it's more attractive for businesses to have their businesses there, and he, I think, further emphasizes the point that if you trust the individual, if you trust the entrepreneur more than the government, your economy will be pretty good. Yeah. One of the, I think, most striking things that I read about in the article is that over 846 billion? Yes, a million, sorry, from New York State of revenue, I should say, went to Texas. That, to me, is unbelievable. Another striking thing is that Texas has the highest standard of education in the country. One of the best educations in the country. Yeah. Anyways, he also talks about, even Bloomberg, which I don't buy. He talks about how Bloomberg thinks that obviously we got to create an environment for which businesses and entrepreneurs alike can create jobs. Now, to me, that's an oxymoron to me because of what Bloomberg has been doing. Whether it's having taxing soda or taxing this or taxing that, or the MTA, raising the fares in the MTA, I just don't buy it. You know what I'm saying? Now, let me give you a perfect example. And forget, this is the middle of the article, just to warn you. Forget the idea that the place like Dallas is all belt buckles. I mean, technical bulls and failed savings loans. My house is this is the main point of what I want to bring out. My house, which is Eric Torbenson is talking here, is 2,200 acres, and the house is worth $400,000. I mean, $280,000. Now, how much do you think a house in New York would cost? That kind of house, my prediction, $1 million. Something like close to it. Okay, here's another. With schools that are among the state's highest rated is 3.6 miles from New York, Barney's, New York, Versace, plenty of luxury shops. We've got our share of restaurants, sporting events, sporting 50 view entries with got 354 million worth of brand new spanking arts venues, a killer sculpture center, and a football stadium big enough to create its own weather. Plus, we've got the world's third busiest airport with nonstop to 140 cities. Now, I wanted to bring out another point. One of the things that he talks about in this article is that the income tax. Now, New York has one of the highest income taxes in the state. Is there no doubt in your mind, whoever's watching this video, that the reason why that happened was because of the income tax? It's massively too high. And in Texas, there is no income tax. There is none of that taxes. You know what I'm saying? Is that why $846 million left New York City and went to Texas? Of course, because there's no less taxes, lower regulations. And it's a simpler, basically, it's a simpler environment to create a job. You want to start a business, you could, it's not going to be so, difficult to do. You know what I'm saying? It's just not. When the internet economy allows for an increasing number of people to live anywhere, low costs win. Texans spend 8.4% of their income on state and local taxes compared to 11.7% for New Yorkers. Dollars that would rent a fifth floor walk up in New York City instead of it's taken by a small ranch and maybe even acreage in Texas suburbs, where prairie begs to be paved for another Applebee's. So in other words, what they're trying to say is that you could get cheaper things, more expensive things for better. In other words, things in Texas, what a small little thing would cost in New York $500,000, Texas it costs $200,000. In other words, you get more for less. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't that make sense? Does that make absolute sense? Texas creates jobs like a fiend, in part because business large and small have no worry of obstacles such as plaintiff-friendly courts, customer-friendly regulators, oversight-friendly lawmakers. Pro-business isn't just a mantra. They put it to the test. I put that in there. So basically what it is, it's just emphasizes what I say. There's no slip and fall lawyers, all these crazy lawyers suing businesses for absolutely no reason at all. It's a simpler, what he's saying is that it's a simpler business environment. It's more predictable. And that's what Washington has to do. Stop making it more about Washington and making it more about the businesses, because who knows how to create a job better? Is it a federal bureaucrat, or is it you and me, the common American who gets up every day and works hard and goes to a job? Not for me, because it's 18 inches here in New York City, snow. But you know what I'm saying? It's just, that's what I think Washington has to make it not less about Washington and more about the people. Who knows how to create a job better? A business owner or a Washington bureaucrat? Who knows how to cure a patient? Who knows what his patient needs? Is it a government bureaucrat or is it a doctor? Answer: doctor. Let the people who actually have expertise in their fields to deal with these problems, instead of making it so complicated. Have all these access, all these paperwork. I know. I hear I did some research. How much paperwork's involved? I see it when I'm getting a basic checkup. How much paperwork's involved in curing a patient. If they would just make things much more simpler, you had more time for this. More time for the patient, and same thing with businesses. That's why I'm trying to bring a comparison here. It's the same thing with businesses, you know what I'm saying? If you just make things simpler, less paperwork, less taxes. You have to get a permit for a business. There's this tax, there's that tax, there's a state tax, there's a local tax, there's a capital gains tax. Get rid of all that stuff. Who needs it? You know what I'm saying? It's just ridiculous. It just makes things so much more simpler. Oil and gas still play a huge role here, but increasingly overshadowed by technology, Medicare, and defense costs. Texas has more Fortune 500 companies headquarters than New York. In other words, they got more 500. It's a reputable, source of business. In other words, they got the best businesses in the country, the most prominent businesses in the country. Why is that? Maybe it's because of their lower taxes. Maybe it's because they have an excellent governor in Rick Perry, who knows that the only way to solve problems, the only way to create jobs, is to let the private sector grow. Let individuals keep more of what they earn. Let people decide what to do with their money, instead of government bureaucrats. So that's why I don't buy the revenue argument, which I won't get into, and maybe I'll get into it in another video. I don't know. I don't plan ahead. I say it in all my videos. But, it's something that I just so I can keep it in my mind. You know what I mean? But, you know what I'm saying? Not that's all barbecue brisket and bodacious blondes in Dallas. The state still has its issues. When you have no income tax, property tax, sales tax, to make up a revenue gap, and they're still pretty steep. And try not to be poor down here, because Texas' approach to social safety net can be summed up as meh. Texas spends less per capita on social services than virtually any state. The income gap here makes Texas look more like Mexico in some ways than the rest of the country, though New York is no stranger to wealth access contrasts. Sorry, a blackout there. Texas has led the country in the percentage of people lacking health care. In other words, most people have health coverage in there. Teenage pregnancy rates, drugs and bottom and drags and the bottom educational attainment. Political discourse remains whether Democrats are socialists or simply traitors. But interesting bit about the census power grab in Texas is that newcomers are more diverse in every way than the conservatives. Basically, what he's saying is that most people in Texas, most people have health insurance. Most people pregnancy rates are less there, and more people are more moral there. You know why? I'll tell you why that is. Because they're actually not home. They're working. They have a job. That's in my opinion, the reason why there's a lot of crime, in my opinion, is because people are sitting home and doing absolutely nothing. Because they have these welfare checks. Why should a person work? This is why, in my opinion, that welfare incentivizes people to do nothing. And that's why crime rates are high in a lot of these cities, these democratic cities, because people aren't working. They're at home. They have nothing better to do. When you have nothing better to do, it's highly likely that you're going to commit crimes. You have nothing better to do. Oh, go to a club. Get into trouble, So, this is why, in my opinion, this is why I'm doing this video. I just want to show you the difference between free market principles. I want to say is that this is what our country should be doing as a whole, what Texas is doing. We got to embrace the free enterprise system. That's it. I mentioned in the last video, the poor seen the most pleasure in economic growth during Reagan's time. And guess what? Reagan cut taxes for the so-called rich. Because you know why? When you let wealthy people keep more of what they earn, they create jobs, and it creates more jobs for poor people, so they can get jobs. What do you think? That's what we call the trickle-down theory, the trickle-down economics, the supply-side economic theory of Reagan, and people like Milton Friedman. New York molds its budget gap. Hey, Texas is short $20 billion for its next budget too. The idea of higher income taxes just makes a math problem worse for potential citizens. That's be less concern of trickles down. All right, but you get the point. New York, it's not perfect, but what I would do, is I am a strong opponent of this of the national sales tax, but not on top of everything else, because the Democrats want on top of everything else, as Nancy Pelosi talks about, on top of everything else. I would support a fair tax. Now, I did this video to show you what our president should be doing. Overall, it should be more about free market principles. It should be more about the individual. We should be embracing the individual and the hardworking American. It's about relying less on Washington. It's about who knows better, the bureaucrat in Washington or me and you. In my humble opinion, it's we the people. It's we the people of the United States. Anyway, guys, I hope you're enjoying your holiday season. I hope everybody's having a happy, healthy, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. Hope everybody's having a safe holiday. And all my friends in New York, have a safe trip. Have a safe day, because of what's going on out there. It's pretty bad. In my area, which is Midwood, it's about 20 inches. So I don't know. It's pretty bad. I don't know what it is, but they said it's going to be close to 20 inches. So anyway, guys, take care. 1987 Mastermind, I should say, out. Toodles.